If you use the Office 365 website, then you can access a web-based version of Skype for Business. Since this works on a website, this is accessible to both Windows and Mac users. So we need to start on the Office website, which you can get to by going to office.microsoft.com. I've already signed in with my Office 365 account, so I'm here on the home page. I want to find the button for Mail. I'll click on that, and that takes me to Outlook on the web. If you use your Office 365 email account, you can send and receive email messages here. You can also access your address book and calendar. There's shortcuts to those down here near the bottom right. And this is also where you would go to access the Skype for Business web tool. If your account includes the Skype for Business service, then you will see this button right here near the top right. If you click on that, it opens up a small web-based version of Skype for Business. Now, this does not do everything that the desktop version does. In fact, it will only do text-based instant messages, not audio or video calls. Now, later in the chapter about meetings, you will see that there is an option for joining video or audio meetings that you have been invited to using a different web-based tool. But for starting conversations in the moment, this tool only works with text-based conversations. So it's going to start me here in the contacts view, so I can see a list of all of the people that I have saved in my Skype for Business contacts. I also want you to see there's a menu over here on the right side. If you point at that, it pops open and gives you more information. Currently, Contacts is selected, so that's why I'm here in the Contacts view. So to start a new conversation, you would either select a person in your contacts, or you can go to the menu, into the search field, and search for a person. But let's stick with somebody in my contacts. I'm just going to start with Stuart. I'll click on his name, and now I'm in a conversation. Now, I do want you to see in the menu on the right, a new item has been added. When you start a new conversation, it's represented by a new item here on the menu. So back to the conversation, I can type my message. In a moment, Stuart will receive that message, and he can respond. And from here, we can continue this conversation. Now, you can also start conversations with multiple people. You'll start with a conversation with just one person one-on-one, and then you can go to this button near the top. It looks like a silhouette with a plus sign next to it. You can click on that to add people. So, of course, I could use the search field, or I could choose somebody from my contacts. So we'll just add Leah. I'll hit this button down at the bottom to confirm, and now we're in a three-person conversation. But it's important that you see, if we look back over here on the menu, this did not simply add somebody to the existing conversation. It started a new conversation with the group. And that other one-on-one conversation with Stuart is still available here. But let's go back to this three-person conversation. I can go up to the top and click on this little triangle button, and I can see all of the attendees listed here. Click on this button, and it closes that. And of course, I can type my message here. In a moment, both of my other people will receive that message, and they will respond. And naturally, from here, we can continue with the conversation. Now, when you're finished, of course, you can just leave these conversations open, or if you want, you can close them. So if I point at the menu on the far right side, I can right-click on one of these conversations, choose Close Conversation, and now that conversation is closed. Or I could leave it open and come back to it later. When you're finished, all you need to do is hit the Skype button up here at the top of the screen again, and that will close the Skype for Business interface. So that's one way to access Skype for Business here on the Outlook webpage, but there are other options. If I go back to my email and I find an email message that somebody sent me, here's a message from Stuart, I can see his contact information in the email message. And if I see this little green check mark next to him, I know that he is a Skype for Business user and he's currently online. If that person is a Skype for Business user, but they're currently away, you'll see the yellow icon. But if I see either one of those, I can point at this person. It pops up with this little floating window. There are a few different buttons here, but this one in the middle will open up the Skype for Business interface, and we can start a conversation. Or in this case, continue an existing conversation because I was already talking to him. Okay, so again, I'm going to close this, and we'll look at another way of accessing this. I want to go over to the address book, which I can do by hitting this button near the bottom left, Or I can go to the Office 365 app chooser up in the top left, and I can click on People, and that will take me to the address book. Either way, once you're here, you want to click on the section that says Your Contacts. You can see a list of all of the people in your Office 365 address book. And again, we can check the icon next to these people to see if they are Skype for Business users and if they're currently available. So if I click on either Stuart or Leah, I will be able to see their contact information as well as a button to start a Skype for Business conversation. I can click on that, it opens that up, and now I have a new conversation with Leah. So those are your options for accessing Skype for Business on the Office 365 website. You may have noticed that we went into the Mail section and the Address Book section, but we did not look at the Calendar section. There is some nice integration with Skype for Business meetings in the Calendar section, but we need to hold on to that until we get into the chapter on meetings later in this course. If you prefer to use the web-based interface for your daily email communication, then it's nice to have a shortcut to Skype for Business right there.